Stay there for 2
They do
months.
have these too.
Thank you, Jennifer. We want to welcome everyone to our city council meeting being held here on August 18, 2026 at the Centerville City Hall. We thank members of the public that are present, staff that's present, and council members as well too. Let's do a roll call of our council members, make sure that we can do business tonight. Councilwoman Meekum.
Meekum present.
Banger present.
Heeman present.
Hurst present.
Plummer present.
Thank you. All 5 of our council members are here, and it's good to be here with you. Let's have a legislative prayer thought from Councilmember Robin Meekum.
I'll give a prayer. Our kind Heavenly Father, we're so thankful to meet here as a committee to represent our citizens. We're thankful for our first responders. We're thankful for all those that help furnish the needs to our city and our people. We ask thee please to bless them and to bless us as a council, that we will work together, that we will be blessed with the knowledge that we need to make the decisions that are best for those that we govern. And we say this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilmember Meekum. If you'd all rise with me and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item is the open session. This is an opportunity for anyone that's present to come to the microphone and identify yourself and where you're from and things that might be on your mind. We encourage you to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. With that said, we do have I guess just one public hearing matter tonight, and that's in regards to the Centerville Municipal Code and Zoning Code in renaming the Landmarks Commission as the Historic Preservation Commission. So that one you'll have another chance to discuss then, so you don't need to bring up that right now. But so with that said, other than that one item, it's open. Just identify yourself and where you're from.
Hi, Council. My name's Joey Wilson. I visited you at the beginning of June. I've not heard back from the city with any answers regarding the property that UDOT owns on the west side of the Woods Park neighborhood in the corner. So I'm just here to follow up and find out how we can move this forward.
I can give an update. We're actually in conversations with UDOT right now to discuss how we want to proceed with the maintenance of that property. So work is being done.
Would you be willing to give our community a little bit of a status update on what's being discussed? And is that something that you can share with us?
I'll leave it to you, Lisa.
Yeah, we're just talking about, reviewing their regulations and the state statutes as well as the city code, and just working with their attorneys as well. So just discussing the statutes and regulations that you've already cited and how they interpret them, but we are acquiring UDOT's acquiring additional property along the frontage road, so we want to solve this
I
before
noticed that. They're going all the way down the frontage road.
So we're holding up those property acquisitions until we resolve.
So your issue that you brought up has actually caused us to relook at how we sell our property to UDOT to make sure we have an understanding of how it's going to be maintained once we do. So thank you for the heads up, but it's helping us with our discussions with them. So it's working with UDOT, which is a process.
Yeah, I imagine it's not very fast.
So thank you.
I just want to make sure that things are
working on it.
moving, and if that's the way it is, then we realize it's not the most pressing thing that the city has to deal with, but it has been a really long time, so we're just trying to get, and the other thing I just want to bring up really fast is that I feel like it is a little bit of a safety hazard for a number of reasons. The park strip is not being maintained, and it's filling up with a lot of dry weeds. And as we saw in Parley's Canyon, I think last year when that huge fire happened, all it takes is a chain going by to ignite the park strip, which then goes into all that dry. There's a bunch of sticks now that people are piling up in there that's dry, and I'm just worried, wrong car at the wrong time could be a little bit of a liability there, as well as if you come out of the stop sign on one lane and you're turning left or right, you cannot see 40-mile-an-hour traffic coming. And I live there, so I experience it all the time. And many, many times you step out and boom, there's a car right there because the shrubs are kind of overhanging the line of sight. So even if we could do something temporary just to kind of like get in there and clean it out, that'd be great. But I appreciate that you guys are moving on it. Any questions for me?
I want to commend you on coming, and you do need to keep coming. We are staying on it, but things happen when people come. And so as somebody who was where you are, I say keep coming and keep honest so that we get it done.
All right, I'll do that. Thanks, Robin. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Shelley, appreciate your time. Anyone else? For the open session? All right, so we'll close the open session and we'll move on. The first thing we have is a presentation. And I want to read you a letter from the Government Finance Officers Association to address to myself, Clark, Mayor, Centerville City Corporation, Utah. Dear Clark, we are pleased to notify you that your annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2025 qualifies for GFOA's Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition to governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. When a Certificate of Achievement is awarded to a government, an Award of Financial Reporting Achievement, AFRA, is also presented to the individual or individuals or department designated by the government as primarily responsible for its having earned the certificate. This award has been sent to the submitter as designated on the application. We hope that you will arrange for a formal presentation of the certificate and award of financial reporting achievement and give appropriate publicity to this notable achievement. A sample news release is included to assist with this effort. We hope that your example will encourage other government officials in their efforts to achieve and maintain an appropriate standard of excellence in financial reporting. So, thank you. Is there more that anyone wants to say in regards to, there's the award in there as well too. The great job that our finance department does. Nate, you want to come up? And I want you to remind all of us who is of help to you, who in getting this award, your department and who works with you.
Yeah, no, as you mentioned, we have a great team here at Centerville. So yeah, I really want to thank Ron and Natalie, Crystal, and Bethany, who are part of our finance department. They all put a lot of work into doing this, ensuring that we get this award. This is the 26th year that the city's gotten this award. So anyway, they do a great job. And not only them, but the other departments as well. This truly is a city effort. It takes a lot of work from everybody, so we appreciate it.
They do a great job. Please let them know thank you. And from coming for a long time here, they're all so helpful. Even while they're trying and earning these awards, they're so good at helping the public and being friendly and making people feel welcome. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate them. They're awesome.
That's great to hear, and I'll pass that along for sure.
Thanks.
So I think we need to give them a big round of applause, and you can pass that on to your staff for the great work. Thanks, Nate. Appreciate it. It does my heart especially good to see those things, in the financial reporting area. So great job, great job. All right, let's go to our Public hearing matter. This is a public hearing related to the Centerville Municipal Code and Centerville Zoning Code amendments to rename the Landmarks Commission as the Historic Preservation Commission, to appoint Whitaker Museum Board members to act as Historic Preservation Commission members. So this came about as we were reorganizing and giving our assignments in January. And Lisa, I want to thank her for catching hold of this and working with those various committees in putting this together. And so that's why it says initiated by me, but I have to give them the credit for all the work that was done on it, because she took the bull by the horns and ran with it and worked with citizens and our committees. So Lisa, you want to fill us in more on it?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. So we have two ordinances in front of you. One is to amend the zoning code to revise the Landmarks Commission, to rename it the Historic Preservation Commission, and to amend any references in the zoning code, which there were quite a few, to the Historic Preservation Commission. And our second ordinance is to amend our municipal code to make a few changes to the Whitaker Museum provisions, and also the reference to the Historic Preservation Commission. I did review these amendments with the Whitaker Museum Board, and I think thanks to the mayor's work with the board, they are willing to take on this additional role. So essentially, the Whitaker Museum Board will be appointed as members of the Landmark Commission, Historic Preservation Commission now. We have had a hard time filling those roles, and it's rarely used. There are some provisions in the Dual Creek Historic where they may, review some things and they can make certain nominations, but they have not been very active lately. So essentially, the Whitaker Museum Board would be similar. They'd wear a hat for the museum board, and then they take that hat off and put it on for the Historic Preservation Commission, much like the council does for the RDA. So I explained that and tried to make it clear in the ordinance amendments that they are two separate public bodies. So when they meet as the Historic Preservation Commission, they will have a separate agenda and minutes for that body, and then they can move on and have a separate meeting for their museum board. So it was helpful to work with them. They were, the Whitaker Museum Board suggested the name change to the Historic Preservation Commission, and that was fine with staff. I think they can use whatever name, so we could easily accommodate that. And then we made some changes because there are certain qualifications that the museum board members need to have, and then some qualifications that the Historic Preservation Commission needs to have, but they sort of overlap. So it was helpful, but I tried to put language in there for the mayor when appointing someone to the Whitaker Museum. He or she needs to remember, oh, this is also for the landmarks, so we have a mix of people that are qualified for both of those positions. So we've taken it to the Whitaker Museum Board as well as the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission is required by law to review any zoning code amendments. We went ahead and took both the municipal code amendments and the zoning code, and they reviewed them both and recommended approval to the city council. So with that, I think you can have a public hearing. We did this at the Planning Commission. We just had a public hearing on both. The public hearing is only required on the zoning, but we'll accept comments on either one. But I think this is a really good suggestion from the mayor and council, and hopefully will be a win-win. And the only other comment I think the Whitaker board had was whether this was going to add additional work for the museum director, because they will have to, take minutes and other things. But I think I acknowledge that we could use other departments, because right now the Landmark Commission was historically staffed from community development. So if they need additional help with that portion, because there are zoning code issues, so we could staff that body potentially with community development staff. So,
Thank you, Lisa.
Happy to answer any questions.
Question for Lisa?
I appreciate the effort to keep these two bodies separate. My question for you, from an administrative standpoint, what legal implication is there if they don't? Right, like we've certainly laid it out to say these are two separate bodies, they'll keep separate minutes, they'll be in separate places. What if they, as lay commission members who don't have the benefit of having a city attorney, like in meetings to remind them about the differences, what if they don't and they conflate the two meetings? Does that, the thing that came to mind for me was potentially that could create grammar issues, right? If you've conflated your entities, then maybe they are viewed as one as opposed to two separate entities. But maybe I'm not thinking about
Right,
that.
and even open meetings. So I did explain to them and offered to come back and have some open meetings trainings, because it's always nice to visit with the boards and commissions and see how they run their meetings. So I think we can have some training there. But also I explained that when they create their meetings on our software, they have to use, we have to create a new template. So I think internally, all of our boards should have a staff member as well as a council member liaison. So I hope those don't, those issues don't happen. And, but yeah, there could be some, luckily, they only have advisory authority, but my concern would be if they were making a decision under the Dual Creek Historic, where, they were supposed to have the authority and now they're wearing the wrong hat or they're wearing two hats. So yes, it could be problematic, and I'm certainly happy to, reiterate that with them. But they wanted that separation. They were also happy with that separation because they like being the Whitaker Museum Board and they do different things. So I do think that, they understand the distinction and prefer it.
And they will actually meet as the Whitaker Board 90% of the time. There'll probably be a landmarks, depending, but
Once a year,
once a year maybe.
2 times a year.
Two times a year at the most. So it isn't like it's an every month thing. Once or twice a year, I think, would be and the other thing they did ask me to mention is they would like some things put in about the historic, the preservation in our general plan, to make sure that they've got what they need on the back of that.
And I wasn't as supportive of combining these, to be clear. I wondered from a legal aspect, if this current board certainly understands the distinction. 10 years from now, when maybe training has gotten lax or, right, I just wanted to make sure that if we are conflating these, if as an administrative practical matter, these two boards start to conflate, does that create problems for us down the road?
And Robin's comment gives me concern for exactly what you're saying, because if they're only meeting once or twice a year, I feel like that could very quickly be lost
And that's why I
in
think
translation.
if we do have a staff member, if we continue to use community development, and then they work with creating and generating the agenda, because again, they have to use a different agenda under our software program. So I think that would
But
be
it's not really any different than you had a landmarks committee that only met once or twice a year. So they weren't any more up on the rules than these people would be.
But my concern
it's
is
mixing the meetings
yes.
that's the concern.
That
It's
would be
not, it's not that they're meeting, it's that they could intermix the meetings.
Well, it's
And-
going to cause a problem for the city recorder, because now we don't have necessarily, because you have to post your minutes and your
Yes.
recordings on the Utah Public Notice website, and
At
so
least
you-
for me, I kind of envision as we're getting this started and they maybe have their first couple Historic Preservation Commission meetings, either I or another staff member would be there just to make sure, we start the recording and stop the recording. This meeting is closed. Okay, we can go ahead and start the next meeting, just to kind of help, walk them through that process, because it can be a little confusing. I mean, even here, we had 3 different entity work session is different, but we had RDA, NACB, and we have to make sure that those all stay separate. So with a group of volunteers, it's a lot to ask of them to understand all of that. So I would
Won't
either
they-
plan on being there myself or make sure somebody's there.
Won't they have a clearer understanding, though, when the Whitaker Museum's meeting monthly and the Historic Preservation Committee only meets once or twice a year? I mean, aren't they going to get a good, even the new members that come on, a good distinguishing factor in their mind? Boom, we're acting in a different role here.
and I do think they'll need training,
If
because they
they
won't
did-
know why The Historic Preservation Commission is meeting, it'll be a new sort of agenda item that they'd have to be on.
As long as we have a member, I think, of community development to be there to help assist them and walk them through that process, that gives me more comfort. But I wanted to flag that as an issue because while I am still supportive of it, I think that it makes a lot of sense to combine those two. I just didn't want, by combining the two, to create an inadvertent problem for us down the road when we have Lake Hoodies who aren't as cognizant and as strict about corporate formalities as perhaps we are.
Yes.
Can I just ask a clarification? Even the name, the new name, Historic Preservation Commission, that gives a strong implication that what they're doing, preserving historic sites. Is there a way that once a site is preserved as an historic site, that it can be unpreserved?
Yes, Centerville just has a recognition, so they recognize it, but you can do whatever you want with any sort of landmark or historic site, but it gives the city the opportunity to document before it's demolished or before it's changed significantly.
So
So
you would
it's sort
make
of
your house a historic site, but then you could knock your house down. It doesn't put any conditions on your piece of property, but you would let the city know so that they could come take pictures, document whatever they wanted before you knocked it down. But they will not tell you what you can or how you can do it. There are certain advantages with our own planning department that if you do things a certain way, you can get money off of your
building permits.
Building permit, thank you.
There's some incentives in the Dual Creek Historic District if you preserve or, follow certain architectural
So you don't
guidelines.
have to, but there are some advantages.
Okay, thanks.
Great, let's go to the public hearing part of it then. So this is now, I'm opening a public hearing in regards to the municipal code and Centerville zoning code amendments to rename the Landmarks Commission as the Historic Preservation Commission and appoint Whitaker Museum board members to act as Historic Preservation Commission members. Any member of the public that wants to comment on this, you're welcome to. Just state your name and where you're from. That is now open. Seeing no comments, I will close the public hearing, and we will come back to, during that brief time, if you had any other thoughts in your mind, or if anybody's ready to submit a motion on it.
No, I have a thought, because Landmarks Commission was where I earned all of my city experience. I served at least 8 years. I think it was upwards of 3 4-year terms. And I remember meeting monthly, and I remember you being there many of the meetings. I also remember having a city planner there every meeting that we had. So I believe that support is absolutely vital to keeping the commission knowledgeable and educated on what we're supposed to be doing. So I think that is important. And I always felt like there was a connection between the Whitaker and the Landmarks Commission. So I think there is some reason to see this go forward. As we have talked about the Whitaker board, I believe that I was led to believe that there was a member of that board that was not a member of Centerville City. And I was wondering if that is going to be something that we want to, as we move forward, say that if you're going to be on this new Historic Preservation Commission, which I think should be Centerville residents, does that mean that we're going to be looking at the Whitaker board as being only Centerville residents?
I would really worry about that. We have some residents that are on it that bring a ton of information, a ton of, and I've only been on it for just a little while. There's one man that's not from Centerville, but that's where all his education and everything lies. He's just super on everything that's brought up.
So he does not live in
He
Centerville?
does not live in Centerville. So I would be sad to lose some of that. I think we can get some real expertise by going outside of Centerville on this, because it does take some knowledge to get the grants and do the different things.
So am I
there's-
hearing from you, Councilman Plummer, that you have concerns that in putting our hats as Historic Preservation Commission members, that it should only be Centerville residents for that one?
Well, I think it should be a consideration. If people do have expertise for historic, or for the Whitaker, which I can see being more of this is a museum that's more regional, that has provided that cultural facet to our community. I could see people outside of Centerville being interested in serving there, but that does not necessarily mean that they would be the best for something like this new commission. And so are they different skill sets, essentially?
I would think his skill sets would be great for the landmarks. Number one, he understands the state and the state regulations and all of that, which a lot of the lay people don't. I mean, you can call somebody to be on there, but they don't understand all of the requirements and the grants and the preservation. I personally have been very impressed with him being.
So that's this one person, but now
I
we're
think-
talking about future, and there may be other people that come on, that would apply to be on that Whitaker board that don't have that same knowledge base, and that they would be qualified for the Whitaker board, but would they be qualified for this historic?
Brian, they have to
that's
be
a really
approved,
good
they have to
point.
be appointed by the mayor and approved by 5 people.
So I would,
Just so you know, there's more than just one individual in my time as mayor that are non-residents that served on Whitaker.
and you could make these.
There's been multiple.
Sorry, Mayor.
And that's the only board that we allow it on. I've had volunteer applications for other of our commissions, boards, committees, and outside of the city, and I don't even entertain them.
I think right now there's at least,
As far as the Landmarks Commission went previously, were non-residents allowed to function as a commissioner of the landmarks?
I don't believe so.
So I think I'd like to understand that.
I don't know
For me,
that we
I-
mentioned that. Let's see. It would
Yeah,
have been
that
in
might be helpful.
12/20/070.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, Robin. I don't disagree with anything that you've said, but Brian's right. Like, you can't necessarily I guess for that Historic Preservation Commission, is there a reason that we would want them to be a resident of Centerville to vote? And can we distinguish it just like we distinguished our, what do we call that, ABC, ACV? What?
So
The
I don't think,
ACV and the RDA, tonight, we had separate roles. I mean, can we still have them be part of Whitaker and just,
yeah, well, I think that, I don't think it previously stated, it just said Landmark Commission shall serve without compensation, have a demonstrated interest, competence, or knowledge in historic preservation or architecture.
And
To
see,
the
it's
extent
hard to
available
get
in the
those people.
community, 2 commission members shall be professionals from certain disciplines of history, architecture, et cetera. So it doesn't
Okay.
clearly say that. I think with most of our boards and commissions, or committees, the assumption is they will be members of the community, but it doesn't say that for all of them. And I
Right.
think it is up to the
That's-
mayor
that's
and
true.
that. But my request would be to keep it the same though. If you're gonna say the landmarks has to be citizens, then the Whitaker
Then
would
the
have to
Whitaker
as
does.
well. Otherwise,
Well,
I wouldn't want to do that.
I think they
but
fit,
I'm sorry, and I'll let you go, but you said that you do not entertain anybody outside of the city for other commissions and committees, so I would say, why then would we do that?
because
for-
she just said that, where she said that they need to be, we need to have 2 that hit certain requirements. is what Lisa just
It's the
read.
same with
But
the
it's
Parks
not
and Rec.
anybody's on the Parks Committee. Nobody has to have a background in parks or a background in rec. You've just got to be a parent, you've just got to be a baseball fan, you've just got to be, but these people,
Probably
in
more
order to
importantly, you need to
get,
be a resident of Centerville.
you what?
You need to be a resident of Centerville.
Right.
More importantly.
Right, but so with this committee, there has to be certain backgrounds in order for them to be able to apply for their grants and to act upon some of the things they act upon.
But that's all for the Whitaker board, right? Like everything you've just mentioned definitely applies to the Whitaker board because they're
But
going after
the
grants.
the
How does this?
landmark is more, I mean, that was where you got your grants. That's what we used to do when they would pick a house. They're the ones that designate someplace.
We went out and got that from a third party.
The Whitaker got
The
got the
landmarks-
grant for you because you didn't have the expertise on your committee to get it. So the Whitaker got the grant for them to use, then they hired somebody to get the information in order to make it a historical district. Because they could get a grant that would pay for that. So they would pick a house, pick something, pick Ron's gas station, and then this grant paid a third party to do all of the,
It's,
I think Councilman Bangerter brings up the greatest point, because I will interview the person. I get at least a volunteer form, if not some sort of resume, to see if they're qualified to serve on this type of board. Then I have promised all of you, and I've always done it, I will forward that to you. So you get an opportunity to determine if that person's qualified to be on the board or not. The outside of the Centerville people on the Whitaker have, for the most part, been a really big help because they are historical nuts, you know,
I'm not-
and that's what they know.
I was gonna say, and I'm in no way saying that part should change, but I think it's more for me, is there any concern about this Landmarks Commission? Does it in any way function differently that it would? I don't know the answer, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I
I
think
just
there
am
are
saying, I
certain-
hear what Brian's saying, and I'm kind of questioning it as well.
Yeah, I think there are certain committees that require more expertise, and in that case, you may not have that expertise in the city. So for instance, with the Whitaker. So just looking at our code, our Parks and Rec and Trails Committee are the only two committees that you have to be a resident. The Whitaker Museum, the Tree Board, and the Audit Committee, you do not. And the Audit Committee, we specifically require one independent person who is not necessarily a resident either.
I mean, frankly, if there's no legal repercussions or concerns, that's fine with me. I do think it was a good thought to
It is.
vet it out and just make sure that there's not something we can think of.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Go ahead, Councilman.
I'd recommend that we approve the proposed Centerville Municipal Code and Centerville Zoning Code amendments to rename the Landmarks Commission as the Historic Preservation Commission and to appoint Whitaker Museum board members to act as Historic Preservation Commission members. Per ordinances 2026-10 and 2026-11.
I have a second?
I'll second that.
Got a second? Let's vote. Councilman Bangerter going to my right.
Aye.
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 Thank you, that passed unanimously. Let's go to, we're skipping item number 2 because that's Centerville fee schedule amendments for field use fees. Brent and I had a nice discussion on Friday, but Haley is over that and she couldn't be here tonight, so there's no time deadline on that, so we will put that on the next meeting. Let's go to item number 3. This is the Centerville Municipal Code Amendment for the Citizen Cores Committee, initiated by Chief Ackerson, and he's got Louisa McDonald here to talk about it. Hello, Louisa. Good to see you. Go ahead.
I am the liaison between the city and the Centerville
the Citizen Core Council. And I want to give you a little background of what this organization is. It started in about 2008 for the sole purpose to bring community leaders and Centerville emergency management together to prepare for and get citizens ready and engaged in post-disaster, pre-disaster, and to help before and responding to emergencies. In its inception in 2008, the City Council officially recognized the CCC and pledged to support it, but there was no formal agreement made. There was no formal relationship that was ever established. So for the past 17 years, various cities' employees, like myself, and I act as a city liaison right now, have worked with the CCC to mesh this group together. And with the support of several city leaders, we'd like to request that the City Council to formally recognize the Citizen Core Council to strengthen community preparedness, volunteer engagement, and the city's ability to respond to and recover from emergencies. I'm happy to take any questions you have about our group.
I actually, if I could just say something really quickly, I think that the people that serve on this council are just the top notch of our community. I'm grateful for the opportunity that I had to be there for the first couple years of my time on the council. How would this affect the current makeup of the core? Would you look at trying to get new members to come in? Would you operate with what you have right now? How would that look?
For the time being, we probably would. We would ask that group if they wanted to stay. As of right now, we use the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's a calling for them to be district leaders. And we kind of want to take that, not take it away, but give them an opportunity to, do you want to stay and not have that be part of your calling? Because as of right now, it's hard to keep some continuity. When they get released, we're starting all over again. And I think we're missing a strong opportunity of those people in our community who are not members of that faith, that they're not engaged, which is one of the strong reasons I want to invite everybody in the community to be part of this group. So we will keep some as they want to, because once they get in, they get it, and they're all in, but then they get released, and we're starting all over. But they still have that passion. We would like to maybe invite some of that passion back. But to answer that question, we will, if they want to stay, but we will open it up to the citywide.
Because they're probably releasing them in a year or two, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, and Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but because there is no carve-out for existing members, when we enact this ordinance, it goes into effect, which would mean that all of the members, if they want to stay, would need to put their applications into mayor. Mayor would need to bring them to the city council, and the city council would need to approve them.
Yes, because it's a city, it's actually another public entity, city committee.
Right.
But I do agree, I appreciate the work that's been done. I think this is a good approach to have it under our umbrella. I don't know if you recall, but this was even highlighted by our auditors, that it was one of those hybrid entities where the mayor had the authority to appoint, but we weren't following governmental entity rules. So I think this is a good approach. But yes, that's a good point, that these would be officially appointed by the mayor with the consent of the council.
GASB 84. This is our last one to accomplish that from GASB 84 5 years ago.
And Louisa, I am particularly supportive of it for the reason that you indicated. It would allow people who are not members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, including myself, right, to be able to participate in a really worthwhile organization for all the reasons that Brian just stated. So thank you for putting this forward.
They weren't excluded before, it's just that.
No, I think
it
that's
was
just
filled
how it
with-
was organized in the
Yeah.
beginning, because they used all the different LDS stakes, and we referred to them as districts.
Yeah,
Because it's a natural boundary, and we'll continue to use that because it's a natural boundary and it was here first and it works. But I want to be more inclusive of those people who live in that boundary. So it's not just the ward members, the area members. I want to expand on that and get everyone involved. There's talent out there that we don't know about.
So are you gonna give me a great outline of what people will do on this? Because I'm worried about assigning a council member to be over it and left it up to you and Chief Child before. So as I talk with people, I got a good feel to tell them what they're gonna be doing.
Yes, I believe it is, Lisa, it is in the ordinance that you wrote up of what their jobs are and what their duties will be.
I didn't know if you want, yeah, if you're free to add to it.
I'm
at all.
sure, you know, we want all kind of qualifications and how they will serve. The group itself will vote on and our leadership, our chairperson, who wants to be a chairperson. If there's vacancies, if someone says, yeah, this isn't working for me, or it's too much time or whatever, then we'll appoint those as necessary and refer them to you. But yeah, everyone will have a job. It's all volunteer to the betterment of each citizen here.
So I'm assuming the districts / stakes, they're not gonna be calling people anymore. It'll function more like the Parks and Rec Committee. People will apply. I'm just trying
I think that they actually might call people still. That's
Okay, well, that's fine. I'm just trying to understand it,
But we
that's
still
all.
have to appoint
But
them.
we will
Yes,
still have
that's
to.
fine. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand how that's all, I get that it's like a really good idea. I'm trying to now see how it works in real action.
What we don't want to do is feel like the LDS Church is being excluded or pushed out of this organization, because they're very instrumental in helping us start it, right? It was a city-led initiative. We brought in the various stakes from the LDS Church, and they all ponied up a person to represent their district. So we don't want to stop that relationship. It's a great relationship. We just want to expand on it. And so
Yeah.
the stakes can continue to call people to be their representative within the CCC, but that person may or may not be an actual committee member.
Oh, got you.
So it's
Okay.
open meetings that anyone can attend, and if a district leader happens to not be a church representative for the LDS Church, I would encourage the LDS Church to still send a representative and then collaborate with their district leader of that area.
I think that's what my concern is generally speaking, like, if you don't have these districts saying, oh, we need to get our person over there, do we lose some of that continuity and also like placement, right? Like you need to have representatives spread throughout the city. It's great if we have 10 from this area, but if we are missing all like 10 from this area, we may have some gaps that would take you actually more time to, I mean, in a case of emergency, we need a network to get a hold of people, right? So that's more what I'm saying is, do we have an idea of how to, I guess, still encourage those, I just don't want to see that part fall off. But I like what you're doing. I think it's really smart. I just want to make sure it functions well.
Yeah, and I think as has been stated, we're
Agreed.
keeping that framework.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what's been recommended is that most of our committees have 5 to 7 members. This one will have 5 to 11, so that we can broaden that, because if you look at the qualifications, it anticipates, expertise from many areas, such as even healthcare or animal control, or, we might go to the county and other things. So we're making it a little bit bigger so that some of those additional areas of expertise can be added.
And
I
to
think
that,
that's fantastic.
to Mayor's earlier point, right? Like, this is something that he could vet as well. So as he's looking, if he gets 10 people and they're all in one area,
Yeah.
he could go, that doesn't really make sense. So I think that
Yeah.
the mayor would play a part
Well,
in
maybe
making
that's
sure that
helpful to
it's-
just, like I said, I'm totally supportive of it. I agree with everything that you just said. Of course, this should be open to the entire community, and, it really does matter that the entire community is considered and taken care of. I just also know that, probably the fastest network in this town is still through the districts, if for lack of a, that is, information gets disseminated, and whether or not you are a member of that district or stake, you are being watched out for, because everybody's watching their neighbors.
One thing I like about the CCC's organization is on the neighborhood level, right? We have the district leader, which is on the LDS state level. Then you have area representatives, which are on kind of the ward level. But then you have block captains, and if the CCC, if the district is set up correctly, there's block captains, and those block captains are responsible for everyone on their however many streets they have, regardless of religion or who they are. Like
Right.
they should know who they have, and so they have contact with them. And so we may go out through the district leader with information, but then it should disseminate down to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, here's an example. At one time, like and I know what you're dealing with probably a little bit is it probably does this as far as effectiveness and who's called and who, you know, and then assigned. But, you know, at one time I had a red and a green paper and it had specific instructions. My block captain brought it to every house in the neighborhood. If there was an earthquake, you posted a green sign if you were good. You posted a red sign if you weren't. I'm sure it would be great to get some consistency that way, just so that, you know, and you do need people that are passionate about it to make sure that that happens.
And I think that the passion comes from volunteers. Sometimes people being called develop
For
a
sure,
passion.
yes.
But sometimes it's not there initially. And I think providing this opportunity for people that might just be a block captain to get involved on this corps would be a great opportunity for those people that don't necessarily get looked at for this district leader position within their stake. So I think that it's definitely more inclusive, and I see that as a positive.
So I think it's great, and I agree with all of it, and it definitely needs to be more inclusive. My concern is, so my understanding is the committee was one person from each stake or whatever, and then they had bishops or whoever one in each ward, and then they went to the block captains. So are we going to lose that? I mean, that's my concern is I like having a block captain, no matter what denomination they are, that knows everybody on their street and can say, oh, there's an old man over there and we haven't seen him. So how are we gonna still do that? Because I thought all of those things are callings. Are we gonna lose that? I mean, so we're gonna have this group, which, you know, certainly does not need to be LDS. But then how are we gonna trickle down? We've got 4 or 5 in the group, but then we've got to trickle down into each district, into each neighborhood. How's that gonna work?
Well, I think it's gonna take a lot of communication, you know, if maybe district leaders talking with the bishops, or heck, I'll even do it, you know, just so give them an understanding of, we want to involve more of your neighbors and make this a neighborhood effort. And so you find those people who are passionate about it, who are not, yeah, I get this calling and I'm never going to do it. I don't have the time, or I don't want to, or if it's something that's, you know, they have maybe a flippant attitude about it. We want to find those people who are passionate about it and are willing to do it for a while.
I do think that just as though we're kind of changing the relationship on the district level, the district, the area levels would be the same. So the district leader would have their areas they'd be responsible for. The same geographic boundaries as a ward, but who the area leader is could vary depending on.
But then who's gonna call the block captains and things like that? That's my concern, I guess.
Yeah, I think you'd have to communicate with that ecclesiastical leader, with that bishop, and talk about it. Because in an emergency, as we've discussed, you know, faith has no boundary.
Right.
And I think you're going to have open that line of communication.
I mean, we have block captains right now that aren't LDS,
Right.
Yeah.
and so.
I'm just wondering who's gonna make sure we have all those block captains, I
Yeah.
guess.
So that might be up to the district leader, trickles down to the area leader, yeah.
Might I just communicate, I've been on that committee for several months now, and it's super impressive. And communication is the key. Most of the meeting is dedicated to how to work these radios and get the communication, water to the end of the row and back to the leadership from the end of the row. And I think it's highly likely there's going to be a representative from each of the, what do we have, 6 stakes in the city?
Or, but we have 5 areas because we include the west side.
So it's highly likely that among those 11 members, one of those will be from one of those stakes. Some stakes now have 2 or 3. And I did want to ask, and so I think, Gina, or Robin, to your point, that, you know, that's really important for that particular individual to be in touch with the other ecclesiastical leaders in that area to make sure those districts and block captains are assigned and it's disseminated appropriately. But I was wondering, the makeup of the, it seems like there's more than 11 people there now at our meetings, aren't there?
There is not. So right now we have, so the committee members would be the voting committee members.
Right.
So Louisa, me, you, we're not voting members.
Right.
So you start kind of, so we have 9 right now that attend. Then you count your 5 district leaders. You got your communications, MRC, and CERT, and the Bridge Community Church.
Right.
And I think that's everyone who's attending regularly right now. And so then if we add on a couple more positions to add some flexibility, that would bring us up to the potential of 11. So our intent would be to bring to the mayor 5 district leaders for consideration for the committee. And once again, someone for the communications over CERT or the Medical Reserve Corps, and another outside church, probably the Bridge. And,
Is there a way to get that Episcopal Church
right,
involved as
that has been
well?
a talk within the CCC of trying to expand out and so we've been in communication with them over time, and
Yeah.
it is yeah. They
I
have-
mean, every group, right? Like, but I do see that as, I mean, I love that Bridge is involved, but also it'd be nice if we could get them to,
They've been invited and they've come a couple of times. It's just not consistent with them.
yeah.
they're
that's
an
fine.
excellent resource for the community. They have a great.
They are an excellent resource. I know this is probably the never-ending job of trying to gather all the little, gather enough people to get everything right, like.
But I will tell you, the Episcopal Church does have some members who are great in communications and extremely active in the ham radio
Oh, great,
area.
okay.
So there are some areas there, and it's just kind of a different makeup of people with the Episcopal Church as opposed to some of the others in there.
And
Well, I'm sure they have people coming from Bountiful and other
I was
places.
just going to say,
but-
Gina, you're probably aware that much of their congregation does come from
Yeah,
outside the city.
well, yeah.
Yeah, a big part of it, 90%.
Yeah,
of it.
and maybe
not
that's
that high, but-
really heavily impacting that. I just,
The other thing I just wanted to ask, I mentioned it
Right.
from the chief, asked for some feedback. The appointment of the chairman for just 1 year, seems like you barely get your feet yet in 1 year. Is that something that's,
Right.
seems like maybe a couple of year appointment would be,
So I would expect and want a chairperson to probably be on there more than a year. One problem I see we have right now is we have a 2-year commitment to be on the committee at all, right? So then we extend out, and I wouldn't want a brand new person probably going on as the committee chair. So you gotta get in there, get some experience and get going. But I also don't want people, the committee chair could be a big position. And so I'm hesitant to have someone sign on for this multiple year not contract, but commitment. And so if they could get on for a year, and then my anticipation was, the first meeting of every January, they choose their new committee chair and vice chair, and if it's the same person, and ideally if things are going good, they want to keep going, they keep going.
makes
But
sense.
Agreed. Yeah, a couple of year commitment when their original commitment on the committee is only 2 years would be a little problematic, I think.
And it is common, all of our committees, the city council, the planning commission, the board of adjustment, we all have a new chair each year, and it allows, others, but the planning commission has voted in the same chair for a couple years now, but it's nice to let other people have that experience as well.
All right, Councilwoman Banger, you also had messaged me questions about open meetings and Zoom links and opportunities for people to attend the meeting virtually. And internally, we talked about this idea, and I myself have attended virtually before to some of these CCC meetings when I've been out of town and wanted to attend. And anyone who attends who would like to, who can't make it to a particular meeting, want to attend virtually, I think we're all on board for doing a virtual link for them to attend. I do worry about sending out a link for every meeting, an opportunity for people to attend virtually rather than in person. Because some of our greatest benefit of the meeting is the relationships we build throughout the community. And I think we lose some of that when we attend virtually consistently, right? We meet at 7:30 on a Saturday morning. That would be very tempting just to roll over in bed and pop an AirPod in. Attend virtually, right? That would be very nice. But absolutely, I don't know if you have any thoughts or opinions.
I just thought that it would be opportunistic many times for members to not miss out because they had a conflict that day and to stay informed. But I would support having it. Especially, maybe you could have it more of if a particular member suggested, hey, I'm not going to be here, can you help me on that week?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can I ask, you said it's a 2-year commitment. Is it crazy to do 3? The Parks Committee's 3, Planning Commission's 3, right?
Yeah.
3 years term, and I just think some longevity there would be really helpful. Having served on the Planning Commission, I mean, 3 years flew by, and then I did another 3 years. So I don't know, I just think, maybe that's asking a lot of, maybe this is a different situation, but.
Goes back to the same argument we were making about the chairmanship though too. They can certainly be reappointed after 2 years.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on length of
I'm fine with it the way it is. I just wondered why it's 2 and the others seem to be, I don't know what the tree board is or the.
They're all 3.
They're all 3?
So do we do 3 and, because the idea is kind of alternate, so not everyone comes up at the same time.
Yeah, we could do
I think 2 and 1
staggered
is our
terms.
initial thought, right? Half the group would be 2-year commitment to
Right.
start with, and the other half would be 1. That way we start
You kind of
rolling
roll
over.
up.
Yeah. I don't know that staff has a position on whether it's 2 or 3. I think there were some practical thoughts with the 2-year that more aligned with the 1 year, but 3 would be fine.
I would be supportive of changing it to be 3.
Just
For-
somewhat consistency, right?
Yes, I think there is something to be said about the knowledge carryover, and it would allow for more rotation potentially, rather than like half and half of the board switching every 2 years. Plus,
good point.
there is something to be said about consistency in terms of all of the commissions. 3, you're on commission, it's 3-year term, we don't have to think hard about it. I think I would be inclined to do 3, unless you guys tell me, no, committee members are gonna say, nah, 2's enough.
Yeah, I don't know. So would we do 1/3 of the committee rotating every year? Is that?
That's what I'm just gonna say, is I do a 1 year, a 2 year, and a 3 year, so you're only losing a third each year.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that would
it does
really
say
keep a
they'll be
good,
appointed to
heavy
staggered terms,
consistency.
so we can work with the mayor on that. We'll have to bring those appointments back to you at the next meeting.
I just think it might be a little easier too for the mayor to keep up on that.
That's
all,
There you go.
I
when
mean, yeah,
he
we're
was.
not recognizing the real victim in all that, which is.
No, when I
more
was,
commitments.
when our Parks Committee was down a few members, I mean, that poor mayor he was busy trying, and every time he'd get somebody, I'd be like, phew, 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, we don't have to worry about that for a little while.
Yeah, that's why I'm leaning back, just listening. Because and that's why I asked the question, Louisa, too, of I need, what qualifications do they need? This to me is, I mean, every committee is important, but it's almost like you need some background, but then when you tell me they've been called by the LDS Church, they may not necessarily have the background, but we need to at least have people that see the importance and the passion of this, because because when an emergency happens, this has been so vital in the past, this committee, even with things like windstorms and that sort of thing, but.
I could definitely, some of those positions, it would be almost required to have some experience. When if you're bringing in someone who's gonna be in charge of our communications,
Yeah.
or our CERT team, or even like the Medical Reserve Corps, like that, those are some positions that would be, you'd probably need some experience. But district leaders, I think what most important is just the desire to serve and be engaged and to learn. That always, to me, that always trumps experience.
And I know I'm the mayor, but I think for a lot of people, it's easier to say no to the mayor than it is to an LDS bishop.
Well, that does, I sort of agree with you that might be kind of the case, which is why I brought up my first comments, is I'm like, we're gonna be okay, right? Like,
But that is the inherent problem we're getting is right now we actually have a really good core put together, but historically we get people in there who say yes to a calling and no to Saturday mornings at 7:30, right? And so we really do need people who are willing to accept the calling from a mayor, right?
yeah.
I could
Civic
talk to the
duty
state
is a thing.
president and see if we could get you a double calling there.
Cross-deputize you.
You asked enough questions?
I'm good.
I mean, Brent and I have talked off on this for years, and I've liked how it's functioned, and I could see it, but yeah, I get a little nervous, a little apprehensive.
I mean, I think we'd
Because it's our emergency preparedness.
Right,
You know?
right. And probably, we hope we don't ever need it, but we have needed it in the past, and it really is probably the most important committee. If we have a disaster, we aren't gonna have time to figure it out. We're gonna have to just hopefully kick into action, and
Right.
so I do appreciate all the work you guys have done. You have clearly thought through every nuance, and I appreciate that, because it really does need to be the whole community, so.
I think this has the potential to strengthen this committee. And that is my outlook on this. This is going to make
Good.
this committee stronger.
Well, I'm hoping it'll strengthen the community as well.
I think
That's
that
what
is-
I would be thrilled to have happen.
And I really do think right now we have great pockets in the community, great, on the street level, when a disaster happens, our residents are so good about getting out and helping each other. From a city standpoint, what I want to make sure we get is good communication back up on what's happening, where help is needed, and we can filter down our guidance on what to do next. I know work's going to happen out in the neighborhoods. It's just the communications is one of the biggest key things that we need as a city.
Agreed.
All right, well, we're looking for proof of this ordinance.
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2026-16, enacting section 3.03.100 of the Centerville Municipal Code to create the Citizens Core Committee with attachments of the ordinance and the resolution 2008-23 Citizens Core Council. Oh, that's an attachment, never mind. But with the one addition that the term of the appointment be 3 years, is that what we wanted? My motion.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Do we need further discussion? Everybody good? Councilwoman Hayman going on my right.
Aye.
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 Thanks, Luis and Chief, appreciate it. All right, let's go to item number 4. This is Centerville Personnel Policies Amendments and Drug and Alcohol Testing. We have stuff in your packet, but who wants to address it from the staff?
Lisa is gonna legalize, she's gonna legal it.
Yes, this is known as the rabbit hole amendments to our drug and alcohol testing policy. It started out Bryce came and said, hey, we really need to designate our safety-sensitive positions because they are subject to random drug testing. So we need to allow them, highlight, these are the positions that are safety-sensitive. So we analyze that under the state law, which is kind of a broad definition, which means that a position that directly affects the safety of governmental employees or the general public, or a position in which the employee has access to controlled substances. So, but we did that analysis and we have a recommendation which is included now as an attachment. And I think we feel good about that list. And in addition, many of those positions are already subject to random testing because they are DOT drug tested if they, have the DOT license or they drive our snow plows, et cetera. So just in doing that, then I like to look at other amendments in the law and realize that just in this legislative session, there was HB 236, which is now referring to saliva as oral fluid. So we will now be using that language in our testing. They also made some changes this year to the cost of the second sample. So if you have a urine test, the second sample, we used to put that burden of cost on the employee to challenge that or to run that. Now by state law, it's split equally between the employer and the employee. And also that we need to pay for the cost of transportation for current employees to get to the testing. So then I just decided to go through the entire local governmental entities Drug-Free Workplace Act and see what other interesting amendments we've had over the last few years. So, and there were a few amendments that were also on my list of things to do, and I will say probably from 2023 or 2024. But we had a lot of amendments regarding medical marijuana. When medical marijuana became legal in Utah, the state adopted a couple statutes which require us to, give new employees notice that there's this conflict between federal law, drug legality, and Utah law. And the Department of Human Services was responsible for coming up with a form, but I could not find that form. And then they changed their name. And so anyway, I just put notice in here because it's been on my list. We're supposed to give that notice every time we hire them, but I'm putting it in our policy so that we're trying to comply. And also just stating that we basically are treating medical marijuana as any other kind of prescription drug. And that's what the state law is basically saying by saying, hey, you have to treat this like any other, prescription drug, and you can't take adverse employment action just because an employee holds a medical marijuana card. But that's stated, and we have had some questions over these past few years, like, hey, I have a medical marijuana card, but it doesn't mean you can show up showing signs and effects of, being on medical marijuana. So they need to talk, the burden is on the employee to talk with their physician to find out if they can do the functions of their job, just like any other prescription drug. You need to make sure you can still do your job. And then another thing that I wanted to add was this prescription drug. So I've added 2 prescription drug sections. One is making it clear now that, obviously there's lawful prescription drug use, but probably more common is this unlawful prescription drug use where you're taking too much or you're taking someone else's prescription drugs. So we have a clear section in here that it's unlawful or intentional misuse of prescription drug medication while on duty is a violation of our policy. And then the lawful use is similar to what I just discussed with the medical marijuana, that, you can be on prescription drugs, but you need to talk with your physician and see if you can, perform the duties while on that prescription drug. So there are a lot of amendments. And the final one that was on my list, this is just so great, was whenever we do a federal grant, we have to comply with the federal rules. And so I added a provision in here because they always ask, or sometimes when they're doing audits on our federal grants, hey, have you adopted, the drug-free workplace statement? Do you have a drug-free awareness program? And then there are also notice provisions of anyone working on that grant if they get convicted while of a controlled substance violation. So it'll be easy when we, apply for grants, we can just point to this section that, yes, we've complied with the federal requirements on grants. But that does complicate it for employees that are working under those grants. So they do, and our police officers, those two categories have to follow federal law in terms of zero tolerance on medical marijuana. So there's a lot of amendments, and I'm happy to answer any questions. You may have some questions. I still have questions, but we're doing the best we can to comply with the law and the many amendments that have been enacted over the past few years.
So Lisa, I have a question here. Are we, city council, mayor, employees?
No. No. We will not be drug testing you. And I would also like to disclose that we had a discussion internally about whether to drug test volunteers, because we can under the law, but we elected not to. So if you would like us to add that in, we specifically have to say, but very few of those are safety sensitive positions. It complicates it. So anyway, I should say that we are only doing full-time and part-time employees, but taking off volunteers, we did add in limited and seasonal employees, because those are actually the ones that do perform safety-sensitive positions in the Parks Department. So we added, even if you're a limited or seasonal employee and you're using, equipment and mowers or driving a city vehicle, then you will be pre-employment drug, you're subject to this, and you're also subject to random.
I'm curious, why is the city council not on that list?
You're not, well,
But
by
we're-
definition, you're not
not
an
safety
employee,
sensitive.
you are an elected official.
But a volunteer, other people you're talking about appointed aren't necessarily employees
Right.
either. I mean, I'm fine being on the list and think all of us should be, make our employees feel better that we're subjecting ourselves to the same rule they're living by.
Councilman Bang, you're taking the same approach I did, because again, I'm not on the list, but I'm not a safety-sensitive position, but I do have access to information. And so is that safety-sensitive? And ultimately, I mean, Bryce and I went around and around with this until Lisa stepped in to give us some clarity or make it more confusing, I don't know. But ultimately, I was in the position, let's just test everybody. I'm not opposed to that, but at the same time,
Yeah, I have legal concerns
there are
because we can
legal
only
concerns.
randomly test people in safety-sensitive positions. We can't just go and randomly drug test everyone unless it's DOT.
I'm veteran, I'm former military, I was tested all the time. So it's just standard practice for me, but.
But basically, office staff, things like that, are not considered safety-sensitive and are not subject to.
It seems like the city council is making very important safety-sensitive decisions and ought to be sober to do it. I don't know.
Just send us your results.
Yeah, you can voluntarily send us your own drug tests.
I'm happy to comply, but I do think I'm not too worried about any of you, so I guess I'm gonna put that out there.
Just don't send in the sample for us to test, but please.
Okay, all right, just get the test done and send the test results.
I was just curious what the reasoning behind the GIS administrator was as far as the
City
safety.
vehicle, and he's driving around testing.
He does do the snow plow occasionally.
Oh.
Because I asked the same thing.
I did
This
wonder
doesn't
that.
seem right. So the two positions that I questioned was the GIS specialist and the emergency manager, because the emergency manager is also just administrative assistant in terms of the job description. But we checked on that one, and actually that position handles the evidence room, which would be controlled substances. So that one also is clearly, but we did have a recommendation that we add custodians. And based on my analysis, I think we could add custodians. So if you'd like to add that to the list, that was requested this week, or suggested that we add custodians. Right now, we're contracting for those services, but they certainly use chemicals, you know, and could be considered.
Wouldn't that, if we're doing it third party, wouldn't that requirement fall on the?
Yes, I'm just saying if
their-
we decide to hire an
Internally.
employee, yeah, right now, it wouldn't be in effect, but for the future, if we ever hire, they would at least be on the list and we wouldn't have to remember to amend it.
I
don't
would
have a
think that would
problem
be a
with
good
that.
thing.
I do too.
Yeah,
we got that.
I don't think that's a bad idea to
Okay,
just.
good. I'll add that. Oh, it's already
Is there
there.
anything else?
So I have a question and a comment. Well, maybe they're both more comments. The first, Lisa, I am concerned about subsection 8, the opportunity to provide information that allows.
Section what? Sorry,
Subsection 8. This is the one that is opportunity to provide information that allows the donor to provide notification of any information the donor considers relevant to the test, including prescription and non-prescription drugs. And it says that it's in compliance with the ADA, but provide that information to whom? Because as an employer, I do not want information about my employee's medical condition any more than I absolutely have to have. So when I typically draft drug and alcohol policies, I'll have a medical review officer who is designated to receive that information so that they can analyze whether that person has a valid prescription, not valid prescription. They're like the gatekeeper, so that information is not being provided directly to my employer.
Agreed. And so I've been working with Bryce and Bethany to find out. I'm hoping that the company that we contract with
Yes.
does the consent form and does this, because you're
Yes.
absolutely right. We don't want that information. This is just as required by law out of the local governmental.
This is the specific
That's the language that they use.
Okay,
So
well, this is dumb language, but
I know, but, so it's not mine.
No,
Agreed.
that's fine. I think from a practical standpoint, when we contract with a company to provide these services, we should build in, if they have a medical review officer, that is the person that the employee should be giving that information to. I, as an employer,
Yes.
do not want it.
Right, and that's what we're talking about. Hopefully, they do that, and it's right there, and it's part of their forms. And, you know, we just by law have to provide the employee the opportunity, and I agree with you. We don't necessarily want that information. So it's in there, but I agree. And then we have to decide, if they don't have the form, my suggestion is to prepare the form and give it to them and request that they, you know, use a Utah qualified, you know, local governmental entity form for us. And I suspect they would do that.
Great, okay, you're already on the same page. I read that and was like, ooh, nope, I want an MRO. Thank you so much. And then I will just point out, so medical marijuana is a really interesting thing, right? It's permissible under state law, it's still illegal under federal law. Unlike most drugs, if you test somebody, right, when I go in and I take a drug test, if I am on cocaine or I am on methamphetamines and I go in right then to be drug tested, I mean, if I have metabolites in my system, I have taken drugs, right? Medical marijuana is different. I could have taken it a week ago and shown up to work and be totally fine, but when I'm tested, it's that they don't have a test that's developed yet that makes that distinction. So it creates problems. So, I mean, we can certainly recognize it, but I think that employees need to know, like, if you take medical marijuana the night before and then you show up and you're showing symptoms that may be attributable to something else, but you go get tested and you show that you're positive, I, as an employer, am not going to be able to distinguish, oh, you took medical marijuana last night and now you're fine and it's caused by something else. So
Yeah,
it's
and hopefully the MRO could, you know, it's part of that, but you're right.
I'm just
It's
telling
going to
you, like,
test-
it's a hard one. Like, that is a hard one to administer, and I think that the burden is, in a lot of cases, on the employee in that case.
Well, and that's where it's going to be very difficult. If you are in a safety-sensitive position, you probably can't use that medical marijuana because you are subject to random testing. But if you're in the front office, the only way we're going to test you is if there's reasonable suspicion, or our periodic where we actually tell you. We also by law can say, we're going to do a test next week. But, you know, so Front office personnel, probably not as much, but yes, safety sensitive, that could be a problem.
I point that out just because I think sometimes people think if they have a medical marijuana card, they're home free, right? Like it's like a valid prescription, and the problem is that the testing is not that fine yet, and so it does create, I mean, I think there are employees who come in that maybe took it the night before that come in and are perfectly fine. They're not under the influence at all, but their drug test will still show that they have taken it. And until the testing gets better, I don't know how employees deal with that, other than.
But that's good to
Don't take
know on the practical side as well, because it could also be addressed by the city with, what discipline do we do? Because maybe if it's medical marijuana, it's not a zero tolerance, so.
That's all I had.
Okay. We will need to prepare a cheat sheet for this. I understand it's very technical, but I did want to comply with the law because I think drug and alcohol testing, implicates a lot of different areas and privacy and other things. So it's a little technical.
Thank you, Lisa. Any more questions for Lisa? If not, we have a document in front of you that we need a resolution on,
Do you want a motion?
or a motion, excuse me.
I will move that we approve resolution number 2026-22, amending section 9.010, the drug and alcohol testing ordinance for Centerville personnel policies regarding drug and alcohol testing to comply with state law amendments and to designate safety-sensitive positions subject to random drug and alcohol testing.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second, Councilman Plummer. Further discussion? Councilwoman Hurst.
Aye.
Forgot your name, it's gone so long.
Aye.
Going to the right.
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm going to say really nicely done, Lisa. There were a lot of things that you had to piece together to put this into a comprehensive ordinance, so nice work.
Thank you.
Bryce and I thought this was gonna be super easy, right, Bryce? We're like, just name some positions, and we get to Lisa, and it's like, all right, we'll see it in a year. I'm just kidding. She got it knocked out pretty good, but so amazing to have Lisa and the in-depth, just to protect the city. So awesome. So, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And that, for the record, that motion passes unanimously, 5-0. Okay, let's go to number 5. This is a fifth sales tax option, and maybe some of you heard about it, maybe some of you hadn't. How I'm going to approach this is I was having to catch up with it over a period of 3 or 4 days by text while I was overseas with all the other mayors. We normally, something like this, we normally would see at a COG meeting, but the commissioners elected to do their own little meeting on it, and we found out those dates, and I wasn't able to go, but some of the mayors were. Fortunately, Brandt was able to go, so I'm going to let him explain what was discussed in the meeting. He's laughing because I'm not letting him out. Before you guys comment, I'm going to say, and after he responds what happened in the meeting, I will fill you in on the go back and forth between that we had as mayors and some of the discussion that we had on this as well too, and what my feeling on it as well too. But basically, you'll see a letter in there as well too, and I think the commissioners are struggling. My understanding is one's in favor and one's not, and one's going to go whatever the other one goes. But I don't know. I shouldn't speak for them. But so anyway, it's something that you're not voting on. We're just making you aware of it. The commissioners or the 3 county commissioners voting on it. So, Brian, is that fair enough, or you want me to go in more detail?
No, I'm happy to set it up, Mayor, and then you can take it from there. So, 2 weeks ago, the mayors and city managers were invited to a meeting with the county commissioners regarding this fifth local sales tax option. I honestly wasn't aware of what this was until the meeting happened. So there's been.
And in fairness to Brent, the mayors weren't either until many of them until we heard about the meeting.
So what the state legislature did was carve out this potential option, sales tax option, that cities or counties could tap into, that cities could generate some revenue for transportation-related projects. And there was a lot of discussion, I believe, at the state legislature this past year, trying to figure out what it can fund, because at first it was just transportation projects. There's some conversations happening for the 2034 Olympics and how we prepare for that with transportation. So how do we generate some revenue to start putting in some transportation-related projects in the state? Now, what they did is they created this local sales tax option that counties must adopt on behalf of their counties that cities then could generate revenue from. So there was some discussion. So this happened, the imposition was through September 30th, 2029. It begins October 1st, 2029. So the impetus and the need to discuss it now is Weber County essentially approved this last month, which triggers and kind of forces Davis County to figure out if we want to do it, because it goes through 2029, but the longer you wait, the less revenue you potentially can generate. So Davis County needs to make a decision by October 1st, 2026 on whether or not we're going to impose this 0.2% sales tax. So we're talking 20 cents on a $100 purchase throughout the county. And you can see the breakdown here, Jennifer, thank you for putting that up. 0.05%, so 5 cents on a $100 purchase would go to the cities. 10 cents would go to, determined by the county legislative body, so they can divvy it up to cities, they can give it to UTA, they can figure out where they want to put that 0.10%, and then the county gets 0.05% for their projects. Now, the 0.1%, 0.05 goes to transit, so potentially dealing with UTA, Casper and Banger, potentially some front runner money, those types of things, so we could focus on those, the mass transportation type projects. So this is where the county is unsure of how to proceed. Weber County said, yes, we're on board, but we have 3 county commissioners who do not feel the same way right now. And they're unwilling or unable to make that decision. We have 1 commissioner who's all for it. So in sitting in this meeting, a bunch of us cities there, I'll just share it because it was a public meeting. Commissioner Stevenson's in favor of this and saying, why wouldn't we do this? It's another sales tax option, which is generating by people's purchases. This is a great resource. If we turn this down, one city manager made the argument, if we turn this down, then will the state legislature be less likely to give us these tools to generate revenue to help with our infrastructure? Transportation is probably our most expensive infrastructure projects we're going to deal with for the next. Davis County is a fast-growing county, in all honesty, right? So we need transportation funding to keep up with all these demands that we have. So, and Commissioner Kamalu, she has her hesitations, but she can go either way. And Commissioner Croft is, heck no, we're not, I don't want to do this. So that's where they're lying right now. So one city manager asked the question of, do you need a letter of support from us cities if we support the idea to encourage you to do the right thing and vote for this? The Commissioner Stevenson said yes, a letter of support would be great. So Farmington's already submitted theirs, and so our example is from Farmington's letter they submitted. And so that's what's before today, whether or not we support this, to encourage our county commissioners to either be in favor of this. Again, if you're opposed to it, we don't need to submit a letter. They are on the fence of considering putting it on the ballot, which I think would actually not be a good idea to put on the ballot. I think you've been given the leadership, you've been given the role and the authority to make the decision on behalf of the county. Putting it on the ballot, I think, creates some more confusion and misunderstanding what it means. So what was presented, and I don't have the form because they only had so many, is that this would potentially generate $238,000 for Centerville City annually for the next 3 years. So,
And that would be the 5%. So there could be other monies available to Centerville.
that we could apply for.
That would be through the counties.
But the city gets that 5%.
For sure.
That
Yeah, the
0.2.
county can't say you don't get this.
Yeah.
It comes
You're
directly to
guaranteed
us.
that and maybe some additional depending on
Correct.
how they divvy it up.
Mayor, did I do okay?
You did great.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. So, he did very good description, Brad, thank you. So, taking it further, my discussion by text over a period of nights was theoretical. Some mayors were saying, no, I ran on a platform of I'm not going to raise taxes at all. Other mayors were saying, I understand what you're saying, but we also have a responsibility to take care of our roads and infrastructure, and this is an opportunity to get money for that purpose from the road for the roads through this. And then I started thinking about it. I'm going back and forth. I haven't seen the whole thing yet. And for the most part, I was feeling positive about it. But these things always have a way, in my opinion, of getting out of control. The third quarter sales tax, which is a great sales tax for new road infrastructure projects. Whenever we haven't submitted a bid to that, I'm on the committee that goes out, and my whisper with 3 or 4 other mayors, they're saying, this project that's been submitted by X city, it's not ready to go. They're trying to get funds to give to a developer to help put curb and gutter in and everything else, and they're going beyond. It just sickens me sometimes of how we've taken the risk away from developers and builders in what we're willing to give them. So this on the surface sounds great, but does it evolve to something like that? But then at the same time, I mean, I'm all in favor of it, but then I think we got, as I said to Brent today, you got to say to your residents, well, we got this much for roads, so we're going to do better not raising our property taxes for your roads, and so you got to hold to that. We just can't continue to ask and ask and ask for money. But I like this way of asking for money, like one of the mayors said, for my projects, a lot better than raising their property taxes. So those were the theoretical discussions that were going back and forth. But as with any policy, it can be abused, and I think that third quarter sales tax has a little bit by some cities. I'm proud to say I don't think we ever have when we've ever submitted a project. So I think it's been pad ready to go, but some cities, the projects they've submitted, I've said no way. I mean, let's just let the developer laugh all the way to the bank how much we're helping them out on this project and eliminating the risk. But so that's kind of the discussion that went back and forth between us. And like I said, about half of the mayors weren't even aware it was there. We were upset that, hey, why isn't it coming to COG? Because usually we discuss these at COG, but they decided to go that route with it. But fortunately, Brant got there, and some of the other city managers and mayors did as well too. So that was the exposure I had to it over the last couple weeks. And so when I saw this letter, I wasn't there at that meeting, but it sounds like what one of the commissioners had asked for. So any questions, or had any of you heard about it before?
I have a question.
Any thoughts on it?
Now, you said that, so correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to sunset in 2029?
Yeah, so it's a 3-year approval, so it's not as if it continues forward. That can generate revenue for 3 years. So if you bring that one slide back up, Jennifer, it shows that imposition through September 30th, 2029.
Beginning of, okay.
Does the collection operate differently than a RAP tax? I
No,
mean, I
it's the
understand
same
the way that it's pushed
50/50.
out, but-
It's the same 50/50 distribution, point of sale as well as population, so it's the same distribution.
And are there any counties other than Weber that have adopted this?
I'm not aware. That was all that was brought up. Again, I was just exposed to it 2 weeks ago, so I've looked into it, but I'm only aware of Weber right now.
The reason that I say that is because the letter is drafted to say Davis County residents pay this tax in other counties when our residents.
So Weber County, so if our residents, if you go to Slackwater Pizza in Ogden, right, you're paying, well, food's
That's
not
a
on there,
county.
but
I'm just wondering, that's why I asked if there were multiple counties.
I'm sure there'll be other counties. I can't remember if Salt Lake had adopted this, but again, if our residents are shopping there, they're paying that amount and supporting them. So we need to take
You
advantage
say
of.
county or counties.
Yeah, this was
And
just
then
a
it would be accurate.
wordsmithing thing for me. just
Sure,
to-
okay.
To be more precise, would be
I
Davis
can,
County residents will pay this tax in other counties who have adapted this when they visit other counties. It made it feel like there were more than just Weber County, and so I wondered if I was missing something. I suspect you're right, Brant. I suspect other counties are going to adopt this too.
Back to that last slide, I don't understand, it begins October 1st, 2029. It's imposed through September 2029.
I believe that should say 2026.
There you
I
go.
wondered about that too.
There you go, okay.
So beginning October 1st, 2029. That's when
Beginning 26, October 1.
2020, October 1, 2026.
That's what I would think that would be. But that's why we have to adopt it by October 1st, 2026, because it runs for 3 years.
And it will run for 3 years, and then no
Sunset.
matter what, it is gonna,
I wouldn't say no matter what. I think the state legislature can adopt other or
Okay,
continue it
fair,
forward. So
yes.
I'm just saying that what you're approving now is, more than like what the county's approving is for this 3-year run, right?
okay.
How did you feel other cities were going to Bountiful?
Oh, you had a lot of support. Sunset Mayor was, why wouldn't we do this? Layton, Clearfield, Farmington. I mean, it sounded like the majority of the cities in the room
What
were
about
saying.
Bountiful, West Bountiful, Woods Cross?
Well, yeah, Mayor Romney was sitting next to me, and he was pretty direct with the county commissioners, basically saying, where's the love? Like, why, we're kind of in a weird place where we used to have a great relationship with the county. This is a good thing. What are you doing? You know, Mayor Romney. Mayor Romney's great. He spoke his mind, but yeah, West Bountiful's
It's
like,
one of
why-
those I've whispered with on these tours when we looked at projects.
But yeah, Mayor Romney's like, for sure, why wouldn't we do this? Same thing. I don't know Mayor Westergaard, what his position was. I can't remember if he spoke up. I don't even know if he
In
was.
our text thread, not all the mayors were getting involved, maybe 8 or 9 of them, but there was only one that wasn't thrilled about it. The others were saying, yeah,
In a way, we're just jumping on and helping make the county commissioner's job easier. They can push it on us instead of having to stand up for what they, you know.
we don't have to give them a letter.
Right, but I'm just saying,
That's-
giving them a
that's just-
letter, we are helping them. I'm 50-50 on it too. I'm concerned where we're already raising taxes this year to add more to it, but yet I like it. I think it's a fairer tax than property tax.
I like that it's a use tax, that it's, those who spend less are gonna get taxed less. I probably will still continue to stand by. I think we need to continue to find ways to fund our roads, because I think that is gonna be a really big challenge for us if we do not continue to really keep pushing at that and making sure that we are funding those, what we're doing to, the expectation on how long a road lasts. This is a good way to help with some of that. So,
But I would want to tell staff that if this is something that passes, I'm not gonna probably pass more for the roads next year. I mean, if we're getting this, it's not,
This and that.
yeah, it's not this and that.
The
The only
trick,
reason I'd support it, and I do prefer something like this much over property tax increase. But a fair amount of our sales taxes in Centerville come from outside the city. Walmart, Home Depot, some of those places drop residents outside of Centerville. So it's them who are helping us pay for our road stuff. I like that.
and it's good because they're using the roads too. I mean, now they are typically using a lot of UDOT roads coming in and out, but still they are using some of our roads. And so I think it's a fair tax.
Well, as soon as one county adopts it, it sort of sets off a domino for the same reasons that are stated in this letter. Why should our residents go to another county and they get the benefit of our residents paying, shopping there, and then when they come here, if we don't adopt this, then we get no reciprocity.
We don't get the
We
help,
get no
yeah.
benefit out of it, so it feels like as soon as one county does it, it's like, anyway, I'm supportive.
Yeah, I am too.
I agree. I think that with Weber doing this already, it really puts us in a position where we need to do the same for our, and I think it is for our residents, because we have a lot of regional commercial locations that people from outside the county, yes, people come from outside the city, but I think they even come from outside the county at times for a lot of our commercial businesses, Lagoon being
Yeah.
a prime example.
That would be an out-of-state, like, we get people from out of state at that venue.
I have some great help out there who've done some research. So according to Andrew Gruber, who's our director of our Wasatch Front Regional Council, he's made a statement. Salt Lake, Summit, Weber have adopted this. Utah, Salt Lake, Summit, Weber.
Well, then it is accurately stated there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're in the middle and we haven't adopted it. Everybody else has it except for us.
Along the
in Davis
Wasatch
County.
Front.
Yeah. Well, the Wasatch Pacific Summit, but yeah. So.
But two of the three biggest counties,
There you go.
we're right, three going along the line, Utah, Salt Lake, Davis, not yet, Weber, yes, so, yeah, so the whole Wasatch Front.
And if our commission chooses not to put us in and do this tax, and 2034 rolls around and everybody's getting everywhere really nice, and then they drive through Davis County and
Right.
could be some problems. It could be embarrassing, quite frankly.
I jokingly call that, it's a great economic development tool. Congestion will cause people to stop at Walmart, Target, and spend money because they're like, it's traffic, I'm gonna go spend some money at In-N-Out. I think that could be a
I'm getting off
driver.
of the freeway and taking a break.
How do I get off the freeway here?
Yeah.
All right, so there's we wanted to bring that to you. I mean, it sounds like, I'm not looking for a motion on this or anything, but we brought it to you, you've expressed your opinions.
Well, Mayor,
We are asking for,
I think a motion would be helpful
I
for
guess-
sending a letter on behalf.
I guess that's just looking at the letter, yeah. That's a good point. If we weren't sending the letter, then it would just be for your information. So with there being a letter, yeah, could somebody come up with some type of motion?
just before we do that, because Councilmember Heyman brought up the actual language in the letter. And I have read it once, it's cordial enough,
You
but
want more
maybe we need
pizzazz?
a little bit more.
You want more pizzazz?
I
don't
think
you?
that the commission actually needs to understand that we want them to take leadership on this and do the right thing for the people, that what they feel is the right thing for the county. And maybe this is correct, and maybe I just need to write my own letter. But
Mayor can work with Mayor Romney to get the language just right if you want. But I think there's some level of professionalism in the letter that you want to
Sure,
maintain.
I
but
think, yeah, that is true, but I'm frustrated with the commission not being able to work together as much as it has in the past. And so I think this can help, showing that there is support for this. And that being said, we're putting ourselves out there, and when they don't pass it, or if they don't pass it, I don't know. It puts us in an awkward position with the commission, maybe, a little bit.
Well, one commissioner in particular, and maybe the other one too, maybe they're wanting to see what the people decide. That's why they want on the ballot.
It's I think, I think it's not a very brave way of going about it. I think that they should step forward and make the decision based upon what they've been elected to do.
I agree. Yeah.
So do you want to change the letter or not?
No, I feel that I brought it up. I just wanted to say that I think it is professional, and it's probably exactly what needs to be said, but I think maybe a little bit of my frustration is leaking out in that I feel like they need to be told with some strong words, do the right thing and stop bickering back and forth.
So who wanted to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I will say, I do think the last paragraph is pretty succinct and it is professional. It does say, you know, that we think you should not, you should do this by legislative decision-making, which I think is probably about as strong as you could probably say that. That's, but I'll make a motion that we send this letter in support of the local option sales tax to the Davis County Commissioner, signed by the mayor.
Second.
All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Sounds unanimous. All righty, let's go to item number 6. This is the Division Water Resources Grant for Transparent Water Billing and Community Communication Platform with Yoppify. Bryce has been working on this, and you have that grant in front of you. Are you walking up here to talk? Tell us,
I don't walk up unless you want me to walk.
tell us more about it.
I don't have any walk-up music for you, Bryce. Should get some of that.
Am I the only one who ever smiles every time she sees Yoppify? I mean, how did they come up with that name? Yoppify.
Should we sing to you?
No.
Okay.
Yappify, I mean, yeah, yap a lot.
I know, it's just,
Maybe it was already
Very
trademarked, I don't know. Yeah, we've been working on this grant with Yoppify to potentially get some funding to pay for this platform that we've been working on to be more transparent about water leaks, communication with the public, just communications in general. One thing I liked about this proposal was it's a 3-year grant that will pay for half of the funding. Yeah, any questions? I was going to show you one feature that I do like that Jennifer can pull on the screen. So within Yoppify, if you click on that little mess, no, the other
This one?
Yeah. If you click on the little button on the bottom right, this is something that we wanted with the website, but we couldn't afford, but now is included with Yoppify, where it has a feature where you can click on these different buttons. And this is going to be a mechanism how we make sure people's information is up to date. So you'll be able to update your contact information by clicking that thing. You'll put in your address, and it will ask you some prompts. We'll be able to put more notices about upcoming events. People could subscribe to notifications if they want to. If you click on submit a request, Jennifer, it will go to report an issue. This is another way you can report an issue. Or if you go to ask a question, this is the built-in chatbot where we'll add information that will connect into the website and give people a better way to find information. So, one of the reasons we like this platform, and we vetted it through, we did a couple demos with a couple different companies. We felt like this was the best opportunity to kind of experience it because multiple other cities are using this same platform. And then we had multiple staff members in this process as well, finance, public works, myself, and other communications players within the city. One thing that I just wanted to mention is specifically creating customized communications to citizens about potential water leaks that they may have that are tied to their water bill, but then also working with them when we have city projects or water line breaks, we'll be able to specifically geofence or draw a circle around a map, and we'll be able to text, email, and if they don't answer any of those, I'll actually send them a postcard in the mail saying, hey, look, we didn't receive any notification, or you didn't open your email or a text. Can you make sure your information is up to date with the city so you can be notified? So
I'm trying to understand, so is Yoppify gonna have their own map, or are they gonna use our map? How does that work? Or,
Yeah, so they just have they input all the addresses through our system, and then they just kind of have a map that we use on the back end. It's not something the public's gonna see.
okay, and so so this is a third party, they're gonna store residents' information in a database on their site? So how is that going to be protected? I mean, with so much going on with other companies that collect data, this is concerning. The more data that's out there, the more opportunity is to lose it. So it's just one more thing that I feel like we're putting more information out there. How is this?
I mean, I don't have the specific answer for that, but I can get back to you. I mean, we're not the first city to use this platform.
Well, I know we're
as
not
well,
the
so-
first, but I don't want to be the first to lose data either. So,
Yeah, and I think the Data Privacy Act does bring up some of those issues and obligations of the city. So number one, we have to notify that we're collecting that information and, yeah, have a plan of how to protect it. But it's the third party that we're.
that's really and we put a lot of, we say, yes, you're going to be responsible for this, but we really don't have the ability to ensure that that's going to happen the way we might want to see it happen.
And
So,
that's the dilemma we're faced with, right? There's a couple of things that are happening here. There's demands to be more communicative with the residents, and there's tools to do so, and this is one of the tools. And if the concern is privacy, then we're less communicative with our residents and businesses. So it's this trade-off that you have to find the balance of what we're willing to do to communicate better with the residents and be more succinct in how we communicate with the residents, right? When we have a water leak, we say there's a water leak on your street, but we're notifying all residents in Centerville there's a water leak on your street. This will allow us the access to just notify the people that are dealing with a water outage or without water, those 29 houses. So it can be very pinpointed saying, look, and you can give them the information, the details they need that the rest of the city doesn't care about, right? So
I care if
So
my
there-
neighbors in the south or in the north end of town don't get water, right?
you might, but that's the problem with social media is if you're posting things every 5 minutes, you become
Nobody's
numb.
paying attention.
Nobody's paying attention. So you want the social media, the main platform, to be those big things, and this will allow us to be a little bit more detailed. So again, that as a council, you have to decide what level, because these are the tools necessary or available to us to help us communicate with our residents.
What, as far as the information that is going into this database, it's name, address?
Address, phone number, email.
Okay. I will say this, Brian, I totally respect what you're saying, and of course, I agree with Lisa, like, we've got to make sure we follow the privacy laws, but, I mean, I just got my 999th letter from some medical office that has somehow lost my date,
It happens.
like, they have way more information, and I'm not kidding. I mean, I had cancer, so I don't even know who some of these offices are, but I get letters all the time. Sorry, we had a breach in our data. And I'm like, can we get them to be held accountable? Because that's more frustrating to me than this. I'm not saying that you're not right, but just.
No,
This
I
really
think-
isn't any more information than what we put in phone books for years and years and years. In fact, I have some old Centerville phone books that list your mom and your dad and all of their children and what the dad does. So if you'd like me to bring one of those, I'd be glad to, because I do have some of them.
Probably have one here.
I mean, there's,
You're right, Councilman Hickam, but it wasn't as easy to breach that data as it is now. Some hacker, boom, takes it all, that they had to go around to the communities and get the phone books. But you answered some of my questions. Brian, Councilman Plummer, I agree with your concerns, but I guess if it's name, address, phone number, email, then we pretty much have that almost from everybody else anyway, maybe
Yeah,
not
so
their
we
email,
can,
but.
when we put
Because we send
information
them,
in-
send them utility bills. My question would be, are we gonna release that to Yoppify without their permission?
Right, so we would get a permission before we
We'd have to get
enter.
permission.
Yeah. So we would contact all the residents this is a process. It's not gonna be like an overnight thing where because our information isn't completely up to date in our system. Sometimes we have mobile, sometimes we don't. So it's gonna be a process through newslettering, through public events, through a lot of different ways to say, hey, can you update your information? Would you like to opt in or opt out? And people are gonna be able to choose. But we're also gonna hold people accountable for the people that opt out and let them know, hey, look, you opted out. Brian Plummer said, I don't wanna be contacted when there's a water line break. Anyway.
So when I call up and say, why didn't I get notified? You're gonna say,
Tough luck.
Tough luck.
I'm just kidding, that's not what we're gonna
Because you
say.
didn't Yoppify.
I mean, we'll find other ways to do our best to communicate if you're opting out, but that'll depend on the success rate or opt-in rate that we have, right?
I think, it's gonna take some time. So like, there are gonna be times where we're gonna have a water line break and we're gonna be able to test this out and we're gonna be able to hit 10 homes. And hopefully within 10 homes, people will say, hey, look, I got the notification, and then it will spread and say, hey, look, you need to make sure you're up to date. And make sure people know that, this is a trusted platform and that we're trying to really do our best to educate them on what's going on with their water bills or with water line breaks or with, construction projects happening in the neighborhood. That's the intent, is just to make sure that we're giving them one.
so my request would be, because obviously over the 3 years, $5,000 and some change is not, in the grand scheme of things, a lot of money. It seems like a good investment to at least try this. So if we are going to go through this process of using the grant money and trying this, can we have some sort of report or some statistics, and so that by the end of maybe 1, 2, and 3rd year, that we know what has been, how many people have been participating, how effective it has been.
Yeah.
And then when they choose to raise the amount on us in year 4, because they will, they're gonna raise it from 10,000 to 15,000. We know that this is a good investment or it's not a good investment, and we can either say, yay, we're gonna go with it, or we're not.
Yeah, absolutely, data's gonna tell the story. And so, yeah, we'll have the ability to run the reports. I can even send you quarterly reports or monthly reports. We have the ability to do all that kind of stuff in the system. So if you want to see those types of numbers, you'll be able to see them. The back end is pretty amazing. So when my public works guys say that they like it, then I know it must be pretty good. So.
It seems like a really good tool. This is impressive what you just showed, so.
Bryce, can I ask, it says here that communication is allowed in general to residents. So beyond water and whatnot, which the grant would include, could we include an area where maybe there's a planning commission issue or item or discussion to let them know?
So if you click on that view notices button, this is just another way to hit people.
Which one?
Go back.
Here?
Yep, and hit view notices. So this would be another way to inform residents about potential
Oh, that's
things
nice.
as well.
So we could notify them that there's a consideration of a
Yeah.
A
30
zone
minutes.
change or a.
Also, and then if you look on the main page, if you haven't been to our main page of the website, there's a big blue menu bar that talks about the property tax increase right there at the top. So we have the ability to really inform the public. Another great example, if you scroll to the bottom, the property tax increase there is there at the upcoming events. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it's there as well. So, I mean, we're hitting 3 different locations.
And we're.
People have got to at least do some due diligence to.
They could do some
Is-
work.
This is gonna be on our webpage, like embedded in, right? Like it's,
it'll just
okay,
be
so when
like-
we're looking at East Fork, it'll be centervilleutah.gov and all of these functions, okay.
So it's like an overlay on the website we already have.
Yeah, I was like, I am the village idiot this way, so I just wanted to clarify.
And Bryce, can you tell some cities that we might know that have done it?
Laverican's on it right now, Hurricane. I'd have to go back and look at my list, there's a few. Jordan Valley Water, yeah.
Was this a grant that any city could apply for with water resources?
Yeah, Yoppify just helped us do some.
Well, good job, Bryce. I mean, it's not 17,000, I think, total?
Yeah,
It's
It's pretty
a
awesome.
decent amount.
yeah.
So, anyway.
I know that this is a really burning question, but Yoppify is a playful play on words, combining an exclamation or sound like yop with the popular text suffix iffy, meaning to turify, meaning to make or turn into, cleverly echoing major SaaS naming conventions like Shopify. So you are correct. The name reflects a tool built to make yapping or sending quick direct notifications and alerts
Easier.
fast and easy for folks like us.
And
you pay me the big
they're like
Yoppify.
making it almost like a verb, right? Like,
Yoppify, like, yeah, to Google something. So anyway, yes, I just had to look that up because, okay.
So I know we keep adding a lot of different softwares, but I know that also that there's a number of us here that has said one of their big things was in the agenda for the residents was communication.
yeah.
And it's a communication tool, and none of us have gone out and found anything better, but necessarily, so, you know, that's why it's attractive to me, so.
I continue to be impressed with all of our staff looking for grant opportunities. I don't know of a city that does a better job of looking for that type of resource, so nice work, Bryce.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a lot of players in this game. It's not just gonna be one person that's using this software. We're gonna have Public Works, we're gonna have myself, we'll have Haley, we'll have finance. There'll be a lot of different players that will be involved in this process, and having the ability to do it for 3 years kind of gives you that historical year after year after year, just data.
It's really
So hopefully
great.
in year 4, we can say, yeah, this was a great success. We'll all be looking for a new job in year 4, so.
I think it's
Or
huge.
we
in-
might just find a different communication
Oh, yeah.
tool if it
Well, there's
doesn't
that
work,
too.
but,
I think it's huge in improving communication with our residents, and I'm
yeah.
supportive. I'll make a motion to approve the Division of Water Resources grant for transparent water billing and community communication platform with Yoppify.
Second.
Motion is second, Councilman Plummer going to the right.
Aye.
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 That passes unanimously.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Council.
Bryce. All right, summary action. Yeah, that's where we're at. Thought I maybe missed one. So we have community park restroom purchase and purchase emergency responder radio communication system. What, any questions on either of those?
A prefabbed
They're so cool.
restroom, huh?
I just saw one on the road the other day,
Oh, you
being
did?
transported. Such a cool idea.
Smart idea. I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of a prefabricated restroom with mounted drinking fountain for community park from CXL in the amount of $102,819. And that we approve the purchase of the emergency responder radio communication system for City Hall in the amount of $48,837.
We got a second there?
I'll second
Did I
that.
say it wrong? CXT. I apologize.
That's my bad, sorry.
Oh, yes.
That's okay. I'm glad we corrected it, so it's all,
So are we getting this all
Before I
sorted?
vote, just what, was this in the budget?
Yes.
It is, okay. Aye.
Councilman Baker.
Aye.
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 I'm sorry.
Did you get the motion in
I
second?
missed the second. Who seconded it?
Robin.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All righty, thank you. Let's go to minutes review and approval from August 4th, 2026 City Council. Is there any changes to any of those minutes? Do I have a motion to approve them then?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Financial report, July 31, 2026. Has-
The radio.
The radio?
We already approved it.
Yeah, it was
We
all
did.
combined. We
I mean, you
combined
can come up and chat if you want, but it's approved.
I just did them both, chief.
Should there be questions, chief?
We kind of got the gist of it in the RDA.
I think the RDA
That's what I
meeting
felt.
kind of helped to just clarify that that one was going through.
Okay. Monthly financial report, as always, Nate has in there highlighted areas for you to look at. This is not one that we have a report on, with it not being a quarterly report, but we give to you for your, so you have the information. But he's here if there's any questions on any of those highlighted areas or other areas. If not, then thank you, Nate, for providing that again for us on a monthly basis and your team. Council report from Council Member Heyman.
So I really don't have much to update. Now we've got some good feedback, I think, on the pump track, so we'll go back and talk about that in terms of location. But I don't have anything else to bring to the city council for trails. And for mosquitoes, really, we just continue to move forward on the new building that we're working on, and we continue to kill mosquitoes. So I wish I had more exciting updates for you there, but I don't. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
Do we
Send your
have
mosquito
much
stuff
West,
to Alaska.
To Alaska.
do we have much West Nile right now?
No, although we do have the earliest report of West Nile that Utah has ever had, sadly. And it was not here. It was in Moab. I want to say it was in Moab. But anyway, June. June has been the earliest detection that we've ever had of West Nile virus in state history. So it's, I think with the warmer weather and such, it's just continuing to grow. That's it, that's all I got.
Thanks. Okay, mayor's report. So I appreciate all of you, and especially Councilmember Meekum for being Mayor Pro Tem for a couple meetings. She also filled in for me at a fire board meeting, and I felt very comfortable letting her go. And I didn't even follow up on her, but I did follow up on her. I did look to see what they decided in that meeting. So, so she probably reported back to you what was decided that day. But thank you for doing that. Anything else from filling in at fire board while he's gone?
I don't think so.
Okay. And we were supposed to have one yesterday, but we didn't. So, so thank you, Councilmember Meekum, for that. Wasatch Integrated Waste Management, they did not meet while he's gone. We meet next week, so I'll fill in what's happening there. LPC meetings are going to be starting up. I noticed that they're going on the road with them. And they're going to Saratoga Springs first, and maybe I'll join by Zoom. But then I realized, man, we've had it lucky. We have it right here in North Salt Lake or at the Capitol, but I guess they've decided to go on the road. So start gearing up for monthly meetings before we go to our weekly meetings with LPC. Now, some things coming ahead. Remind you of the monthly Episcopal dinner tomorrow night. The county is doing their general plan tomorrow night between 5:30 and 7, if anybody's interested. And noon LPC on the 24th. And then Truth and Taxation a week from tonight, starting at 6 o'clock as well. So there's some things coming up that you need to be aware of. Okay, the last thing, a little quiz for you. Who knows what beef feeders are?
They're those British guys.
Very good.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Uh-huh. I saw them.
They're those British guys.
Yeah.
The beef eaters are the famous ceremonial guardians of the Tower of London, officially called the Yeoman Warders. They guard the fortress, protect the crown jewels, and lead popular historic tours for visitors. So I was in London a couple days, and we went to one of those tours by one of the beef eaters, okay? They actually do live on premise in the Tower of London, which is basically London's castle, okay? So they still live there. And of course, the crown jewels are there, and you can walk through and see the crown jewels. Last time they were out of there was 3 years ago when King Charles got sworn in. And so they have a pivotal role. Well, this particular beef eater, while he was doing our tour, he had a good sense of humor as well too. And quite a few of us were Americans, and he said, when did World War II start? For you Americans, it did not start in 1941. You know, he said it started in 1939. And he says, but we're grateful to you Yanks for coming to help out. But realize that it wasn't just you guys, you know, there were combined forces, you know, there was the British, there was the French, there was the American. And I thought, yeah, but they were led by General Eisenhower, so. It was a great tour, and it made me start thinking of the relationship that's important to have with other countries. Over the years, I mean, how many times has, sure we split from the British, but how many times did the British help us? How many times did the French help us, you know, with wars down in the southern states and that sort of thing? So we have a responsibility to be good neighbors, not only to our neighbors in Centerville, but good neighbors with people around the world, because after all, you know, we all have a mother and a father, and have the same emotions and feelings that every one of us. The last thing he said is he said to us, and jokingly, he says, yeah, and you Americans, this could have all been yours as well too, the Tower of London, but it's not. So he was proud of what he did and what he does for his country. So I just wanted to leave you with that thought. Brad.
All right, thanks, Mayor. The war officially started in 1931, though, when Japan invaded Manchuria, just so you know.
Good. Yeah, maybe he was talking, because there was actually 2 wars going, right, in Europe, and that's true. Good point. Thank you.
And Hitler took reign in 1933, so you can say that was in the 1930s. Anyway, sorry, I'm a nerd. So I do want to just emphasize again, Mayor, you brought it up, but I just want to, for the record, Tuesday, August 25th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here at Centerville City Hall is our Truth and Taxation meeting, so next week. So I just want to make sure that's on the record.
How does that, are we going to all be up here as we would be in a council meeting?
Correct.
And it would be much like a public
Just a
hearing?
public hearing, all right, correct. Just one item on the agenda, nothing else will be discussed that night.
And I'm sorry, this is at 6 p.m.?
6 p.m., 1800.
Just wanted to make sure.
Is it a specific length of time, or is it the length of time that is required by the?
However, members of the public show up and share their thoughts, and that's the length. It could be 5 minutes, it could be 5 hours.
Okay,
So.
very good.
Then just
No
want
meal
to,
before?
say again?
I assume there's no meal
No.
before?
No. And then just want to share, Chief Jeff Larson was officially sworn in yesterday. So, you know, although he's been acting as chief, he was officially sworn in yesterday. And I think that's all I have. That's all I've listed. I think Mayor said something that I forgot, though. So that's all I have unless there's questions for me. Okay. The one thing I will say is we do have a closed session for tonight. I'm going to add another item to add to the closed session motion is to list the location of this closed session. We had our IRMA at our risk management training. It's important to list that we're going into a closed session for the specific purpose and the location it's being held. Is there anything else that needs to be on there, Lisa?
Just end the vote, yeah.
And the vote, so.
I will move then that we go into closed session for the purpose of discussing the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property in Centerville City Hall with no intent to return.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, adjourned.